We're back. I'm back. Bit of paternity leave. We're here. URC Unloaded. Joined by, of course, Tom Shanklin and John Barclay. Well, lads, how you getting on this week? I know you missed me last week. You were giving me plenty of slagging.
How are you
were giving me lots of slagging.
How's your sleep? How's your sleep?
Stevie, you look absolutely ball-back. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, John. I'm pretty tired, but you know the things you do for the cause. I made it tonight. Put in a lot of effort. Went over all the games, so I'm feeling good. I think
that's your job, Stevie.
Well,
Jared, how much leave do you want?
Making millions.
How much leave do you want?
Is it not statutory 2 weeks? Is it? No,
you're in the wrong industry, mate.
Yeah.
If that's what you want. Should join the bank.
Well, speaking of somebody who looks tired, Shanks, big weekend up in Loch Lomond. Tell us a little bit about that. How'd you get on? Lots of money raised for charity, of course.
Yeah, it was for Variety Children's Charity. I missed you and John. You both went there because you've been banned, which is such a shame because it's a great tournament. It was brilliant. Like Paddy Wallace won it again, which I think is like the second or third year on the bounce. So needs a handicap review because he's not gone down very well, basically. And I had to wake him up to get his flight. He had no idea what time his flight was. I had to wake him up 6:30 in the morning. So he owes me one. He didn't even say goodbye in the airport. He got off the bus or the taxi, just went to his gate.
Walked off.
That was it. No, thank you for getting me here. Nothing.
I like that. I've got a lot of time for that.
How are you, JB?
Oh, good, mate.
Did you get up to much?
Nah, mate. Just covering up for your slack, really. To be honest, just had to work with Marshy the weekend. He was.
Well, I've seen that. God love you.
He was terrified. No, mate. All good. Good weekend, thank you. Shanks, you come dressed as surveyor today. That's you. Anyone watching? Shanks gives out to me about what I wear. What's going on with the heating?
It's fine, mate. Just saving a bit of money. I love your background, John. Those can't see John's just in a black room.
No, listen. You don't have to be aggressive.
Escape room.
It's like you've got a straight jacket on.
I'm in jail here. Looks like.
No, I'm wearing a gilet. Right. I'm wearing a gilet. There's nothing wrong with that.
All right, less of slagging you two. We've got a very interesting guest on today. Defence coach of Leinster Rugby. World Cup winner, of course, with South Africa. He was with Munster. He's been all over the place, and he's a really good guy. With Jacques Nienaber from Leinster Rugby with us today. Jacques, before we get stuck into a bit of Leinster, I think I met you back in 2017. Had a pre-match lunch with Razzie Erasmus in Dublin. We had a bit of a chat. You were still with Munster at the time, and then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, you were away with South Africa. What's the last 6-7 years been like as a coach, winning World Cups and just on that journey?
No, lads, nice to see you, and thanks for having me on the show. No, listen, it's been, I think when we saw you, it was just before Ireland played South Africa. I think an Ireland 138-3. So that was our last, probably the following Monday, we went back to South Africa. And listen, it's been a roller coaster ride for us, for me, for my family. We really enjoyed it in Ireland, and we enjoyed it at Munster. But unfortunately, I don't know if it's unfortunately or fortunately, but things changed in South Africa and the landscape changed, and they wanted us to come back. And obviously, it's your country, and I know the players. I've worked with the players since junior level, so yeah, we went back, and the rest is history. But happy to be back in different colors, not red but blue. But really enjoying Ireland, and the people is phenomenal, like we've experienced it before we left. Yep.
Yeah, and just what's it been like settling into Dublin? Obviously, it's a little bit different from down in Munster. You've been there a year, family and everything, settled in really well, enjoying it. Obviously, enjoying the rugby too.
Yeah, Stephen. Yeah, yes. Obviously, Dublin is a lovely city. I must say, we enjoyed Limerick, and I remember when myself and Rassie, when the talk started from South Africa, getting us back to South Africa. Leaving Munster, I mean, the first thing, we went to the Black Swan. It's there somewhere in Anacotti, and we had a family meeting between his family and our family, my family, And the first meeting was, I think, 2 minutes. Rassie just mentioned this, and they would like us to come back to South Africa. And the wife just said no. And that was it. And we had a couple of pints. And then 2 months later, we had a meeting again. He says, yeah, no, really, they would like us to come back. And the answer was maybe after 10 minutes, no. And then a month later, and then eventually we decided to back up. But it was a big decision for our family. So they just settled in. And now again, back in Dublin. I mean, Dublin is an unbelievable city to live in. And this morning I went for a run, and it's just like Limerick. I mean, it's a phenomenal place to be in. It's lovely, and the people are nice, and there's so much to do. And so it's really
a bit more expensive, Jacques.
In the world.
It's a bit more expensive, isn't it?
No, it's crazy expensive in terms of Limerick. So no, crazy expensive, but we enjoy it. The family is settled. My wife's here. My daughter is finishing school. Our school. We wanted to bring her over, but unfortunately for us, the leaving cert was now I can't remember if it's year or class, but it's year 11 and 12 combined. So she had to go back a year. So we decided no, to leave her there. So she's finishing school now. She's probably got about 30 days left. And my son is finishing. He's at university there. He's studying BCommerce and law. So he's got another year left. So, and hopefully my daughter will join us after. Not hopefully, she will join us after exams is done. So yeah, the family is settled in nicely. They come and visit us often. The 2 kids. So yeah.
Right. We've warmed you up enough now. We're going to get into it. Good start to the season so far for Leinster. There's obviously a bit of pressure on the team. Yeah. Is that something you feel internally because of, no silverware for, was it 3 years now? Getting to semi-finals, getting to finals and not coming away with anything. You've had three different 10s in 3 different games. Is there a bit of pressure to one, silverware this year, and two, to maybe find a team without so many changes? Maybe try and find your best 15, because we all know with Leinster that there are a lot of changes, and that's something that you do through the season.
Yeah, I think is there pressure? Yeah, I think if you and that's probably one of the reasons I wanted to join Leinster. I think the pressure in Leinster and the pressure with the international team is similar. And I don't think as a coach going to a club. A lot of people ask me, why would you go back to a club? I didn't want to go to a club where there wouldn't be pressure, because I think winners want pressure. I think losers want it easy, and I think people that's between winners and losers, they just want recognition and win it. But winners want pressure, and I think that's the nature of the beast. You join a club like Leinster, which is one of the top clubs in the world, you're going to have pressure. So it's something that we embrace as a group, and we talk about openly, because it is what it is. But for me, it's tough to be part of the conversation of 3 or 4 years no silverware, because I haven't been part of the history, and it's something I would like to remind the players often, that when history comes knocking on the door, don't open the door, because it's not going to tell you anything different. You lost 2 finals or 3 finals. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, so history is history. It doesn't have any bearing on the future. The only thing that is a bearing on the future is what you do tomorrow in the training session, what you do on Saturday when you play Munster, so that's got a bearing on the future. The history has got no bearing on the future. History is history. It's past. It's done. So I would like us to believe that it doesn't have more pressure on us. But pressure is a good thing. Pressure is something that you want to have. So,
speaking of a man who's got dodgy history, I think John might have a question for you.
I was just going to ask, and you kind of already maybe answered already, Jacques, just around. I'm sort of reluctant to go back to Tom's question about that pressure, because that's always inherently there. But is there a slightly different approach, or from what you learned last year, based on what happened in last year, or was it kind of just? I mean, the Toulouse game could have gone either way, arguably. Is there a slightly different approach? I mean, coaches are always evolving anyway, and so are teams.
Yeah. Yeah, I think definitely. I think Einstein said, "Yeah, what is the definition of insanity?" And insanity is if you do the same thing and expect a different result. So I think from that point of view, we definitely we look at. I think one has to look at it, and like you rightly say, I mean, we saw what Frals did against South Africa. And so him going for that drop goal in the last 10 or 20 seconds of that European Cup final. I mean, that thing, I think it missed by half a meter or meter. That thing could have gone over, like he showed. It's not something that it's hit and miss of opportunity. It's definitely something that's very much in his skill set. So, but unfortunately on that day, it didn't go our way, and that's the difference between big games, winning and losing. I mean, I've experienced it with the World Cup. A World Cup quarterfinal was won by Chesney Colby charge down. How many times have you seen that in the last 10 years? So that's the margin. So that's the reality. And as a team, we spoke about it and we accept it, and we know its margins are small. But so is there a lot to change? Probably not. But is there stuff to change? Definitely. So I think staying creative, and I think the club is creative. If you think now in the last 10 months, they changed the defense coach who's got a different defensive style to what they were used to. They changed the attack coach with Goody going to Ireland and getting Tyler in. So to probably, if you take kicking game and set piece, I mean, 50% of the game is they brought in people that brings a different view to the game. So I think in terms of that, I definitely we are definitely looking to change stuff here.
Jacques, just on the game this weekend, it's a big game, huge game. Hopefully there's going to be 80,000 people at that match. Along with this match is huge expectation from all the Leinster fans and probably the majority of neutral fans that Leinster are going to win this game. Munster have a huge amount of injuries. They got beat by Zebra there a couple of weeks ago. They're struggling a little bit possibly to find, first gear. And you guys are off the back of a really good 50 minutes, 60 minutes in Benetton, and you've utilised your squad really well. There's huge expectation, huge pressure. How much are the boys excited about this, and how much does it excite you as a coach for these big games?
No, yes, to be part of these games is what a privilege, man. I was thinking about it today, it's probably one of the biggest club rivalries, and I don't want to be disrespectful to other rivalries because obviously there's rivalries in top 14, there's rivalries in South Africa and club rugby, and Currie Cup rugby, international rivalries. So you don't want to be disrespectful, but I honestly believe this is one of the top ones that there is, and you're so privileged to be part of it. And yes, expectancy there will be, and I must say that's the one thing that I find from Leinster. The expectancy pressure is probably bigger than the expectancy pressure that we had with the Springboks, because people believe, and it's not just expectancy to perform. You have to perform in a specific way because you have to be entertaining. There's a certain way that Leinster plays, so you have to perform in that specific way. So yes, there will be expectancy pressure, and like I previously alluded to, that's the beauty of Leinster, is that there's pressure, but you have to embrace it. I mean, it is what it is, and in terms of the squad. I think for us it's just to stay in the reality. Munster's a quality side. They won the URC before. They played a home semi-final, which I think if you talk to them, they shouldn't have lost that one. But unfortunately, they lost it to Glasgow, who went on to win the tournament. So they're a terrific side, a quality side with a lot of great players all around and experienced players. So for us, it's just to stay in our own reality. We've had a start. If you ask us before the season started, after 3 games, 5 out of 15 points, we would have taken that. But there's still a lot of things that we have to do better. And like you rightly mentioned to, I think Shanks mentioned to it, that there's been a lot of rotation within the squad just purely because where we are. We only got the internationals, the go-ahead of the internationals who went to South Africa. We only got them back before last weekend. But that's also you can see it as a negative or a positive. But it's nice to get a Charlie Tector player with a Gary, and it's nice to get Jameson playing with Sam, and Sam is with the Irish, the emerging Irish who started now at 6 o'clock. They're playing there, and it's nice to have a Gus McCarthy having a bit of a go. So having not all our players available early on is probably from a team cohesion, building connections. It's probably not ideal, but yes, if you think of the young players that get exposure, it's brilliant. So I just see the positive in that.
Jacques, thank you so much for your time. We'll not keep you any longer. Really appreciate it. Love your honesty. Love your work that you're doing to Leinster, trying to change a few things up over the last couple of seasons, and best of luck over this season and moving forward. So thanks again.
Great start to the season. Well
awesome.
Done.
Thanks, Jacques.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for having us. Having me.
No problem. Well, we've spoken to somebody from the Leinster camp. We're going to get somebody from the Munster camp. I think David Wallace is on standby. Is he there? Oh, there he is. Oh, look how sharp he is, lads. Look at him. Look at him.
You're in the hairdressers, Molly. You're in the hairdressers.
How are we keeping, guys? Are we well?
Yeah, all good.
Not as well as you. For those that are listening to this, he's just turned up and he's immaculate. He's tan. His hair is jet black. He's got a glow about him.
Traps on him. Look at the traps. Oh, very good. Everything good, Wally? How's things? Obviously watching a lot of rugby over the last few weeks. Probably watched Munster last weekend in the miserable rain down in Cork, but they managed to get the job done. Hopefully that'll stand them well heading into this fixture at the weekend against Leinster, eh?
It's the way we like it, Fez. Like it. A nice wet day down in Musgrave Park area. It's a tough place to come, and the guys got off to a great start, didn't they? It was about 10 seconds for the first try. Yeah. It was pretty epic. Yeah, no, they played some good rugby. Probably a bit of a bounce back from, the hurt and the disappointment from the week before. Bit of an upset there. But look, a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde season so far. But they'll have real sharp focus, I think, going into this weekend. Nothing gets the minds a bit of clarity and a bit of sharpened than an Inter, especially Leinster and Croke Park. What an occasion that's going to be.
Well, just quickly from me, I mean, you look at last year, we were there for the semi-final against Glasgow. Up until that point, everyone was saying Munster are going to carry on from the year before. They were peaking at the right time, X number of wins in a row. They lose that, and then it feels like they lose to Zebre, and then everyone's sort of pointing, certainly from the media and externally, saying, "What the hell's going on? This is the team that was the champions 2 years ago." Do you get a feeling in and around Munster, certainly, that was just a blip, and that the team's very much on the same trajectory as it was, a couple months ago, really?
I don't know. I mean, I think there was a few games leading up to that Glasgow defeat where there was a lot of. I think just a lot of inaccuracies in their game creeping in. A lot of balls going behind players, and it seemed about 2 or 3 games before that game, you were kind of waiting for a team just to pick up that ball and go and score a try under the post, and they kind of a couple of times that happened against Glasgow. So it seemed to be creeping in a little bit, and maybe is it player fatigue or what the reason is. I don't know, but. There does seem to be a kind of a bit of an injury trend as well in Munster the last couple of seasons. It always seems to be an injury emergency. I think they benefit possibly in the year they won it, where a lot of players came back late on in that season, maybe a little bit fresher, and kind of went on and won the trophy against the grain of maybe, say, the performances up to that point. So it was an incredible season from many aspects, but I think last year, it just the season maybe got a little bit long for them, and maybe the injury profile meant that a lot of guys had to play a lot of games. So yeah, it's a little bit disappointing to see. I suppose that loss down in Italy, but good to see them bounce back. So yeah, I guess the season's a bit too early to tell, really. But you know, I think for Munster to really perform, they probably need all their players available and you know, need to be firing on all fronts rather than, you know, certain guys playing most of the games and then getting that fatigue towards the end.
How big a game do you think this is, Wally? Considering, I suppose, what went on against Zebre, bounced back against Ospreys, but you look at the fixtures before the sort of tests, and it's Leinster, Stormers, and Sharks, and you just think that's 3 big games.
Yeah, but Ferris and Munster, the bigger the games the last few seasons, the better they've done, I think, in terms of the chips being down and, you know, having to play, you know, those couple of trips down to South Africa and win, you know, fair share of wins down there and have a great success there. But yeah, I think Munster probably need that challenge now. You know, it'll be coming around to Europe soon as well too, and I think to get, you know, everything straightened out and having these big fixtures, is, you know, nothing sharpens the mind, as I said, and having this challenge and you know, making sure that the rust is out of the system and that, you know, everything's firing, everyone is on the same page, everyone knows their job and everyone does their job, and maybe that's a little bit of part of it in the early parts of the season. But yeah, I think the scare maybe down in Italy will have helped, but it is going to be a massive challenge this weekend. I think most people will be obviously backing Leinster in the form that they showed, the strength they have in depth, and you know, robbing a few players from Munster as well too. So you know, that's going to be a massive task for them, and the importance of the game, to answer your question, yeah, it is important, but I think a performance is really key as well for Munster, and how they handle the I suppose the stress of it, and also how they are cohesive and you know, if the chips are down, do they stick with it? Do they get themselves back into the game? And you know, if it is going to be lost, how do they lose? You know, hopefully it won't be like that, and hopefully they'll win. But speaking of the Munster man, but you know, there's an attitude and a way you want to see them play and bring that forward and get what they can from this.
Ollie, just give the listeners a bit of an insight. You've obviously played at Croke Park a number of times. You've played against Leinster, God knows how many times, but memories from 2009, memories of playing 2006, even at Lansdowne Road, the changing rooms, just the atmosphere around Croke Park. What's it going to be like for those players, especially those that haven't experienced it before?
I think it's a special place. You know, I was lucky to play there with Ireland and with Munster, and unfortunately in 2009 we didn't get the win, but yeah, it was a fantastic. Fez, I can't remember. You were there. Were you there for the Ireland England game? Yeah, as well too. I mean that game as well too. I mean, what an atmosphere! And both times we played there against England is just ridiculous. But you know, the history that goes with it and the occasion that goes with it. It'll be a very special game for a lot of guys, and you know, I think it only adds to the, I suppose, the hype and the suspense and the spice to it. But yeah, look, I think focusing back on that 2006 game, I'll go back to that a bit more, because a bit more fond memories of that one. Look, I think both teams were kind of getting close to their peaks. And
did you get man of the match that day? Did you? Were you man of the match medal that day? No,
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know who got it. I don't think I got it, but
well, here's the medal.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Leinster had, I suppose, done everyone a favour in the competition that in 2006 and gone down and beaten Toulouse, and they were really on a high. We'd scraped by in a wet day, I think, against Perpignan. And you know, low enough scoring game. I think we might have won by a couple of points, and it was probably a turgid affair. So, you know, I think Leinster had a lot of momentum coming into that game, and I think just the day went for us. You know, went well for us. But unfortunately, I think the fallout from that game really hurt us. I think maybe in 2009 really came back to bite us. We had beaten Leinster up in the RDS, I think, only a few weeks before that. Beaten them well enough, And coming into that game, you felt there was a sense of a tide turning, and maybe that Leinster just had enough. We'd beaten them a few weeks before, as I said, and there was a lot of stuff in the media as well after that 06 game, and remember we got a Ryanair flight up to Dublin, and there was a Leinster supporter painted onto the front of the plane with like 2 Brown Thomas bags, and I was just going, oh god, this is it's funny, but like it's not good, because it's just giving ammunition, isn't it, to the Leinster supporters, the Leinster team, and kind of you just felt that day they had enough, and there wasn't a spare inch on the pitch that day. Just remember taking on a couple of balls, and there was 3-4 guys just waiting for you every time. There was no space, and they just seemed to have that bit of extra hunger than we had on the day, which is annoying to say and disappointing to say, but sometimes that emotion is a powerful energy, in rugby, and putting your body on the line, making that extra effort, and yeah, they certainly won the day that day. But yeah, it was 2 epic games though, and I think if we have anything close to those this weekend, it's going to be incredible.
Wally, last question before we let you bounce on. Who wins this weekend and why?
Of course, I never go against my home team, but look, I think Leinster are just too much. They're at home. I think they'll have a majority of the support as well, and I think Leinster for me are just too strong on paper. Unfortunately, it's not played on paper, but yeah, maybe Munster can throw something into the mix, and it'll really invigorate their season. They have all to play for, and it's pretty much all upside for them, I think, because they won't be favourites in this one, and that puts a bit of pressure on Leinster, but I think they're going to be favourites for a reason.
Cheers, Wally. Legend, Munster, Ireland, British and Irish Lions legend, David Wallace. Thanks very much for your time, big man. I'm sure I'll see you over the next few weeks.
Yeah,
take it easy.
Karantos has just tweeted in and said you're his favourite player of all time. So,
that's nice.
A bit of confidence for you, mate.
There we go. We need it on a Wednesday.
Cheers, Wally.
Well, hey, Fez.
Boys, busy.
Who do they pick at 10 quickly, you reckon, Leinster? This is a big one, I reckon.
Kieran Frawley, I thought, was brilliant. And then there was an injury in the game, wasn't there? And he had to move out. He had to shuffle out to, I can't remember where he played, but obviously Ross Byrne came on and played 10, I think. There was a little bit of shuffling about anyway, and they sort of lost their way a bit, but I thought Frawley was excellent, especially that second try. I know we'll get to it, but yeah, a lot of strength and depth. Boys, review of the weekend. We need to get a move on. Barclay's got his Kamado Joe on, and it's ready to go.
So, you got bedtime coming up.
Man,
just a quick one as well. Wally there, lovely guy, mentioned Ireland and saying, didn't mention getting beat by Scotland in Croke Park, but never mind. Anyway, cheers, Wally. Thanks for that.
The Killer Bees were on fire that day, weren't they?
No, Killer Bees, Johnny Bees scored a hell of a try that day.
That was their one and only win of the campaign. It was the first game of the campaign.
Badly, very badly. It's my worst ever game in an Ireland jersey. Of course, it was against Scotland. Anyway, boys, the weekend, Shanks, we're going to kick it off with, it was a brilliant game. It was really competitive for the most part. Cardiff, 36, Glasgow, just way too much, 52 points they racked up. I know you weren't happy. I was listening to you on comms just with first up tackling, but it was a great game to watch, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good game to watch. At half-time at 12:33, it was so quiet coming off the field. But Edinburgh started really well.
Glasgow.
Jamie Dobie scored. Glasgow started really well. Dobie scored a lovely try, but Sione Tuipulotu was player of the match. Like, you just couldn't touch him.
Charge, good.
Really good, but really clever in what they did, because they obviously clearly wanted to target Callum Sheedy off set piece, and he was just looking where he was. If he wasn't in front of him, he would tip it on to someone else to try and hit him, and he just bulldozed him a couple of times. He was unplayable at some stages. But look, I thought Glasgow had a period when they had that intercept from Jordan. They ended up scoring 3 tries in really quick succession, and that just killed Cardiff. Really, Cardiff lost two hookers, so they had uncontested scrums, which meant they went down to 14 men for 30 minutes, and that is sort of the business end of the game as well, that last 30 minutes. I actually thought, as bad as some of that tackling was from Cardiff, I thought they did show good spirit and character, because at one stage they brought it back to 36-40 with a try from Benetton when it looked like it could have been sort of 60 points to 12-ish. So I think they did well, but then there was just a little bit too much quality. I thought Jack Dempsey was really good. We mentioned Tom Jordan was good. Tuapoloda was easily the best player by a mile. It was like adults and kids on that field. But look, Glasgow are a team that made so many changes and still looked $1 million. You got to say that.
Yeah.
So
it reminded me of Shanks, and I said this as you're watching the show. It was you play like games in like training where you sort of, it's all attack focused, and you just expect to score. That's what it's like every time someone got the ball, score.
You knew it was going to be that type of game, because there's both teams that were going to go and play positive rugby. You know, Glasgow would always go for the corner.
Would you surprised they took Alan Davis and Sheedy off at half time? Because I thought they played all right in the first half. It wasn't. The defense clearly has some work to do, but I thought it was quite good. I thought the guys that came on played well, but I thought it was you know, when you get the crook at half time, it's like you're playing pretty bad. I didn't think they were playing that bad. Well,
they were losing by 21 points against Glasgow, which is, you know, realistically you're not going to be able to claw that back. Callum Sheedy wasn't his best defensive game. Like I think he was using the wrong type of tackle for that. You know, he was just on his haunches. No, he's just getting bulldozed over there. There was all his weight was back. So basically, Sony had to run into him, dip the shoulder a little bit, and then, you know, Sheedy would rock back. So I can see why they brought him off, because he was getting run over. And Tinas de Beer came on and made a break straight away. So probably Alan Davis was the one I was maybe a little bit surprised. But then the front row went off as well. So there was changes all the way around. I just felt, I don't know what you boys think about the ruling of losing two hookers to injury and then obviously uncontested scrums and down to 40 men. I just felt that's a rule that teams can bend. I get that to their advantage, but I felt a little bit sorry for Cardiff having two genuine injuries and having to lose 14 men. I play with 14 men, but
no, I agree.
Yeah,
pretty harsh.
Yeah.
The worst bit about the game was my commentary. I had a shocker. I had so many shockers. Right, I couldn't get my words out at the start, and me and Ryan Wilson were just we had to push mute because we had tears in our eyes.
It was because Ryan Wilson was there. So I had my worst games.
Yeah, he's put me
I don't want to work with him
man.
anymore. And then I couldn't see. It might have been
Kyle Rowe
on the way, because the way the commentary position is, you can't quite see the corner. Because,
who was it? Who's that?
You got blinkers on. I'm just wondering. It was I had a shocker, but at least we laughed about it.
Yeah.
And then I asked Matt Sherratt if he's gone out to find two hookers by accident.
Quality.
Anyway, we're going to rattle through these games. So good fight back by Cardiff, but Glasgow, power, pace, all-round game. Look like the champions.
We'll keep you talking, Shanks. The Scarlets 23, Connacht 24. A couple of moments. Johan Nicholas sort of gifted a try, didn't he? There was a yellow card as well. Just
dodgy yellow card. I think it was a bit of a dodgy yellow card.
I agree. Yeah,
I mean, you can't be given a yellow card for that. Tom Rogers didn't give the ball back. I thought, position-wise, I thought in the back three wasn't great from the Scarlets. I thought Connacht found a lot of room with a lot of kicks through, and that managed to turn Scarlets quite a bit. Obviously, you know, that Johan Nicholas incident wasn't great. I also think sometimes at 15, when he's coming up, he's rushing up and just taking himself out of the game. I think positional-wise, I think there needs to be a little bit of work on there. He certainly showed really good skills in a catch and pass for, I think, Gareth Davis' try. But parts of the game, the Scarlets look really good. I think a couple of their phases, their attack looks sharp. The biggest thing, the biggest issue was a line out 5 meters out, which they lose uncontested.
Yeah.
You can't be losing that. Next minute, then there's a scrum to Connacht. Then they win a penalty. They kick to touch. So it's on Connacht's 22. One missed tackle, and they go the length of the field. And you're thinking, rugby's about constant pressure, putting pressure on. You can't let teams off. They did that.
It was a brilliant try, Shanks.
It was a brilliant try. One missed tackle on the inside. It was well worked. Nice try. But my point being, Stevie, they had a line out 5 meters out and they lost it, which gifted the ball back.
Yeah.
So, John, you're a big
lot of
Scarlets fan.
positives for Scarlets, because you again, it's positive, but it's infuriating because you look at last week and it was a tight game, and then they've got that crazy charge down kick from nothing, and then this week, a ball that gets flicked back over the try line, and they're losing the games by small margins, which is just frustrating. But it's also positive because last year they were losing these games by 20, 30 points. So I think I'm looking at Scarlets saying that there's sort of green shoots here.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Look, I'm desperate for them to win because they're the only Welsh team without a win so far. So, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, Scarlets.
Scottish team that needs a win, John, especially after that first half. I know you were sitting in studio. You couldn't believe what you were watching. Edinburgh got absolutely hosed down by the Lions. What's your thoughts now that you've probably digested it a bit over the last couple of days? Still the same?
Yeah, you try and sort of reflect on what you've seen, and it's when you're doing the games, you get a little bit of emotion on. You think, did I say the right thing? I think I absolutely did. I mean, I look at that game and you talk about people say, "Oh, but they came back and they showed a bit of spirit." That's for me says so much about your mentality. If you're talking about spirit and effort in a second half when you've conceded 48 points, it's just not good enough. Like 48 points, and again, I had a call today about it with URC, and it was like, what do they need to fix? You'd think it would be their defense because they conceded 48 points. They had the ball for almost every single try, and they're going nowhere. Turnover. Ben Bellicott's looking around and looking for runners. Ben Healy doing the same, looking for runners. Do not know what they're doing in attack. And you look at the tries, and they're all 2 meters out, one to pick and go jam, and that's not an attack. That's part of your attack when you get to goal line. So yeah, they got to turn around quickly because they got back on Monday after that, and they've got to play the Stormers on Friday. So
John, how quickly has it turned? Like under Mike Blair, they played this like expansive, on the go, try and score one extra point than the opposition. Doesn't matter if you concede 20 or 25 points to score more. And now all of a sudden it looks like they're just going backwards at the minute with the ball in hand.
Yeah, well, look, Sean Everett came in, and because the end of Mike's sort of 10-year start is sort of finished with they're just losing too many games. There's not enough emphasis on defence and kicking game. And Sean Everett came in, brought Ben Healy in, and we saw a really pragmatic, kick the ball, chase it, play in the right areas, and the attack started to slow down. But there was glimpses of attack, and now we're not seeing either. They're in a bit of no man's land for me at the moment around who are you? What's your DNA? How do you want to play the game? You look at that team; it's extremely well funded, and they spent a lot of money, and that's why people think, oh, you're being a bit dour about it. No, this is a well funded team with a lot of experienced players, and they're not only getting beat, they're getting beat 48-0 at halftime by a team that's they finished 10th last year, 9th Lions.
Yeah.
Tough place to play, I would say, but 48-0 is alarm bells.
There's not many excuses left, really, is there?
No, I think there's pressure mounting for sure. There's definitely pressure mounting on. If it doesn't turn around quickly, there has to be, because you can't have another season with the way the season finished last year.
And a team that is winning 48-0, there's teams are always going to come back after that. You've switched off games one, so
don't care. Halftime, get the beers out, lads.
Yeah.
Game's done. Anyway, yeah, it was super poor.
And you were ill as well, which made it worse.
If I just got through it, I wouldn't miss anything. I wouldn't miss a show for nothing.
doing it for the lads. You're a trooper.
Kids game. I'll be there, lads. Count on me.
Fair play. Well, somebody else or another team that shipped a lot of points was Ulster. 47 points they shipped. It was 47 points to 21, but it was 40 points to 7 for a large part. And Ulster came back at the latter part of the game. Lads, Ulster scrum just got absolutely hooked. I think it was 5 or 6 scrum penalties inside half an hour. The first try was Aranza, Aidan Morgan just shooting out of the line. I have no idea what he was going for. I know there was a penalty advantage. It almost looked like he was just going for an intercept on his own line, and away he went. Ball was shuffled over the top, and they get in for a score. And it was just like, oh no, here we go. This is what it's all about. This is 6 minutes into the game. Now, in fairness, Stockdale probably scored one of the contenders for try of the season with the crossfield kick with Aidan Morgan, and then burnt Aranza on the outside and chip kicked over the top, regathered and into the corner. But that was really it from Ulster until the last 10 minutes. The Bulls just got on top. The David Creel try off the left foot, was it Willie LaRue? A lovely kick pass. Didn't even have to break stride. I think it was Chamberlain didn't have to break stride. In they went again. And then all of a sudden, it was like a point a minute. And I was like, oh no, the wheels are going to come off here. But yeah, another try. Keenan Moody try. There was one chalked off as well. And yeah, Chamberlain as well. I think the hustle on the defense for Ulster is shocking. Like as soon as the ball goes past them, they're like, oh, I can just switch off now and just take it easy. And it's like, they're not working hard enough on the inside. I know it's altitude. They're absolutely busted. They're 40 points down. But I tell you what, guys, they are in a bit of trouble if they don't get a couple of results over the next few weeks. They've got Connacht at home this weekend.
That's massive,
Ospreys
Stevie. That's massive.
Massive.
That is massive.
Ospreys
There's
at
two
home,
massive
home
derbies in Ireland.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I would say about the Bulls. If the Bulls can keep everyone fit with the team they've got, the coaching setup, and that kind of game plan and strategy, they're going to be right up there. I mean,
Willie LaRue was one they missed in the final, John.
Yeah, Willie LaRue, and you just look at how they play, and it's just like we chat about it at halftime. It's like, just wait, this power will take its toll, and it does. And then you unleash Keenan Moody's, the Creels, the Aronses, the Willie LaRues. Yeah. Serious piece of kit.
I tell you what, it was really weird watching the game because like Ulster were 40 points to 7 down, and Paul Marshall was in commentary telling all the viewers how good all the Ulster players had played. And I was like, what am I watching here? Like, but anyway, that's just his opinion, I suppose.
He's on a retainer.
But yeah. Shanks, listen to this. So Connacht at home, Ospreys at home, Cardiff away, right? After that, it's Leinster, Toulouse, Bordeaux, Munster, Connacht, Leicester, Exeter for Ulster. So these next 2 weeks are an absolute must because they're not playing particularly well. They're getting dominated at scrum time, and they've got a chance to put it right this weekend against the Connacht team, but we'll wait and see how that goes. Benetton and Leinster, did you catch that, boys?
Yeah, I did. 28-0 half-time. Second half was a little bit dour. I just thought set piece, Leinster looked really good. Whether they broke them on first phase or not didn't really matter because second and third phase then, they were so sharp. They got over the game line pretty well. I thought Frawley was excellent at 10 when he came on.
Superb.
Yeah, just really like the combinations, really like the lines they run off scrum, off line. They look organised. Even just a simple try for, I think it was Conan, where it was just hit up once, 5 meters out, and then
he was hiding on the wing, Shanks, wasn't he?
Yeah, but just clever, mate. Intelligent play. And I mean, that is a tough place to go, Benetton. 100% is tough. And Leinster just blew them away with skill set, accuracy, and power in the first half. Second half wasn't that great, but a brilliant job done, I would say, by Leinster because Benetton is tough.
Yeah. I totally agree with you, Shanks. I was listening to James Tracy on commentary, and he was saying that when you get a bonus point straight away, just as the half was ending, 40 minutes, then all of a sudden it's like, all right, it's job done. We'll just cruise through here, and that's what it sort of felt like in the second half. Benetton played a lot better. They got a bit of wide play going. They got on the outside, a couple of line breaks, but they couldn't finish anything off, really. They had a good maul try towards the end and finished the game strongly. So hopefully they can take that in to their next game. But Leinster look very, very good, and it's going to be a big contest for them. Boys, we need to keep rushing through. We're running out of time. Dragons. Oh, Shanks, head in your hands. What about the Dragons?
Heartbreak.
Joe, I was so emotionally invested in this game because it was such a good game, and the Dragons took a nice lead at 22-5, and I said it in commentary. I said the worst thing they can do now is just let the Sharks back into this game, and Julius in the centre. Boys, I've not seen too much of him, but his pace is absolutely frightening. at 13. Andre Esterhuizen was quite quiet for a bit of the game, but got into it a little bit towards the end. But basically,
how big is he, Shanks? How big is he?
He's massive. He's absolutely
big.
He's so big.
He's huge. He's huge. But that try before halftime, then they had the Julius try, then they had the Hooker try straight after the second half started, and that's what got them back in. But I really thought Dragons were going to do it. 4 points up, the clock's in the red, and look, they were under a lot of pressure. There's no doubt. For 4 or 5 minutes, they were right under defensive pressure. And maybe the Sharks would have scored. But when an Iron Owen went to the intercept, he sort of took that out of the equation, all the what ifs, because he went for the intercept, he didn't get it, and it ended up going into Sharks' hands, and they went over for a fairly easy try. And you just think, what if he hadn't gone for that? What if the next tackle he had turned the Sharks player over the line? What if the Sharks player knocked it on? Maybe they would have scored, but you just take all those what ifs out, and he went for broke, and it didn't come off, which is a shame because I like him as a player. I think he's a really good kid. I think he tries really hard. But
a bit of an improvement though this year, Shanks, isn't there? With the
Dragons. There is
much improved the last couple of
years. They had a really nice try. I can't remember what it might have been Coleman. A nice attack from the left-hand side. Roger Williams goes through, links with Rio Dyer. So they are looking a lot sharper, I think. I think they're making less basic errors. They've already had one win, which is good. I mean, it's difficult to go to Leinster, but I think there seems to be a bit of an attitude change there, which is what you want to see. So, big game for them this weekend.
Yeah, big game. Munster, the Ospreys, 23-0. There's not much to chat about in this game, lads. The weather was absolutely horrific.
Terrible.
And equaling the fastest try in URC history or league history.
Owen Watkins drops to that. You mustn't have seen
Owen
that.
Watkins.
Almost hit him in the
Owen
face.
Watkins. Shane McCarthy then get in for the try, but the conditions were so bad. Munster had the wind at their back, sort of, in the first half. Second trial, Niall Scannell was sort of held up, and then Tom Farrell managed to get his hands on the ball. They went over again. Calvin Nash played really, really well. He was very good. Casey was very good. That little ball over the top, wasn't it, off a penalty advantage to Casey through, and he got in. But I thought, Shanks, the Ospreys, their defence was half decent at times. There was a lot of effort. There was a lot of commitment. They just give away a few stupid penalties, conceded a couple of really soft tries, like that Shane McCarthy one straight away. And again, I think the last time that they played Munster away last season, Shanks, did they score a point last year or came away?
Yeah, I think they did because
their attack was poor, though, wasn't it?
I think this is the first time they've been nilled since 2019.
Okay.
I think I read that stat, so I think they did. Yeah, their attack was pretty poor. I mean, it's really hard to attack in those conditions. Munster did. Munster just looked more powerful, slightly better organised, which is sort of not like what we saw the week before against the Stormers when the Ospreys were powerful. The Ospreys looked organised. They just couldn't get into the game. All the game was played in that middle period.
Even the scrum, Shanks. Even the scrum, which the Ospreys are renowned of having Munster were getting the upper hand. And
they were last year. They've lost Nicky Smith, who's probably their number one scrummager. But their scrum, Stevie, is still pretty good. Look, the weather's bad when you can see it horrendously on the TV, because sometimes you can't even see the rain on the TV, and it looked shocking. So they want to forget that and move on.
Yeah, the Munster injury list is worth mentioning to everybody listening. You have Jaeger and Peter O'Mahony, who went off in the game. We're not really sure what that is. You have Nankivell, who was supposed to be returning but didn't return. Billy Burns is still out. Haley's out. Udogbo's still out. Shane Daly, Abrahams, who obviously was one of their marquee signings, if you want to call him, back three player. Liam Coons, Thomas Ahern. Excuse me, it's almost like we've forgotten about Thomas Ahern, who was unbelievable at the end of last season. He's been out. Rory Scannell and Salanoa in the front row. So, such a huge injury list, and they're going to obviously be playing against Leinster this weekend. Might pick up another couple of bumps or bruises, or who knows how it's going. So, yeah, it's a big week for Munster, and they're going to have to dig deep in their squad.
Stevie, the Zebra Stormers game. Did you see the NFL move off the line out?
Legal or illegal, Shanks?
I'm not sure. What I mean, Morabi doesn't touch. He just turns his back. I think it's legal. He's not holding anything. He's just
you're not meant to have any act that is sort of to mislead that the maul is over. So, I loved it, but this game was
nothing happened basically until the 40-minute mark when that try
was
scored.
Rubbish. It's like 90
Jesse's try was amazing though, wasn't it? How he finished that for Zebra.
Stormers have got that, but like the question is Zebra. The question this year, it was great they won last week, 2 weeks ago against Munster. Did we expect them to suddenly turn into this team that would put up really good performances every week? Probably not.
No.
The question is, can they?
It looks like Zebra's went out for a few days on the lash.
And they should be like that Zebra's metric of success will be different, and they've got to pick up a couple of wins, try and win some derbies over Christmas. One-way traffic.
Yeah.
One-way traffic. There was one-way traffic in that first game, Cardiff Glasgow at the weekend, and the URC Unloaded player of the round. I know Ravs McSwaney as well. He's given a shout, but John Shanks, you were both in agreement. Sione Tuipulotu of Glasgow Warriors. He's definitely the man of the round, isn't he?
Here's a question. Here's a big question for you boys. Right now, who would you want at 12 for the Lions? Would you want Sione Tuipulotu or would you have Bundyaki?
But on current form, it's a tough one.
Just now.
I think the fact he's in the conversation, you rewind 2 years, who was Sione Tuipulotu, but he, I actually think the way that Cardiff set up and the way Glasgow have used him, he's distributing a lot, and he's very good at that. You see the size of him when he's running, like he is as destructive. And if they can find a way to get him carrying the ball at that more and more, I thought he was unbelievable.
His kicking game is really underrated as well.
He's got a good short kicking game, attacking kicks. He's such a good bloke as well. You see him around. He is the chief organizer in that backline as well. He's talking non-stop, full of energy. He's
class.
Keep your eye on him.
Yeah, class. I'd have to go with Bundyaki just because he's proven himself a little bit more on the international stage. And he's Irish. Well,
that'd be a good game. You think line those up in the Six Nations or whatever?
Yeah, it's not often you get. You say like, the 12 battle. It's not quite like the same as props or say sevens first to break, because often it's your 10 tackling your 12 because of the way defensively you line up. You either probably got your winger in the line, so everyone sort of shifts out a little bit more. So it's normally the 10 on the 12 attacking.
You got Ollie Lawrence in that conversation as well. There's going to be some. Yeah. Then they're all playing a similar style. Some teams, England play a bit different, and Wales as well. But that'd be one to keep your eye on, Thomas.
Keep your eye.
No, he's quality. Boys, any rants? Anybody annoy you this week?
No, just in general.
Adults who can't set alarms to wake up for taxis to airports.
Was he steaming though, Shanks? Was he absolutely steaming drunk?
Yeah, he's getting a bit grabby.
We should get him on. We should get him on the pod. Question about his golfing antics.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Was he turning to Mr. Tickles, was he, after a few?
Yeah, we're talking about Paddy Wallace, we mentioned at the start.
Can't get up.
Quality. Not like a father to him.
Quality. I have no rants. I'm being more positive, like John this week. Being more positive.
Not even like any baby rants. Not even like any formula. Something to do with the baby's formula, the nappies.
No, how much do you get, Stevie? I bet you're in the spare room, aren't you? Definitely spare room guy.
Yeah, correct and right, John. Correct and right. Do you know what? Was a bit weird? So, like the little boy's umbilical cord, come off today. It stinks, man.
Sure, it was the cord.
Why did you smell it?
I didn't. I was changing a nappy, and the next thing I was like, "It's a bit weird." So there you go for any of the listeners.
Well, our dog ate one of the boys' ones. It fell off first, by the way. fell off, and the dog thought it was one of those those pig ears. Nailed the whole thing.
Oh, quality. Boys, just a quick run through of the weekend's games. We'll keep it lighthearted. And just a quick fire. Glasgow Zebra, all in agreement. Glasgow should pump them.
Yeah.
Glasgow.
Yeah, should definitely.
Saturday afternoon, of course, all live on Premier Sports. Cardiff versus Scarlets.
Yeah, I'm there. Cardiff, I think Scarlets are lacking a bit of confidence. They need a win. I hope they get one soon. But
what about the hooker situation, Shanks?
Yeah, that might be the only issue. I'm hoping Evan Lloyd is fit. He took a knock to his hip that he couldn't shake off, so it might just be a dead hip.
All right.
But Liam Belcher's a trooper, boys. Honestly, he's a proper warrior. He's captain of Cardiff. He'll be missed. I hope he's all right. I think it was his thumb.
Okay. Benetton Sharks. Could be a good game, this one.
Sharks. Yeah. Benetton are all at sea at the moment. They are all over the shop. And I think the Sharks are going to get better and better.
Yeah, I'll go Sharks.
I'm going to go Sharks. And we have Leinster versus Munster.
Leinster.
Ooh, Leinster.
Well, we don't have the. I think Ben was supposed to put the Dragons game in there, but
yeah, Dragons Lions. That would be a great game, I think.
Yeah.
See how good the Lions are away from home. You know, they're showing up well this season. I think Dragons got a bit of confidence. I'm going to go Dragons for that game.
Edinburgh Stormers as well.
Yeah, Edinburgh.
You going Edinburgh?
Yeah,
mate. I just don't think. I think there could have been massive eruptions behind the scenes at Edinburgh. And
I just don't think that fix. I got asked it. I just don't think that fixes it. You can only go so far in emotion and reaction.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Stormers, mate. Stormers are too good. Too much firepower out wide.
Yeah. Leinster.
Bigger than
I'm going to go
bigger
Leinster.
than Darcy Graham and Duane van der Merwe.
Don't get the ball. Don't get the ball, so it doesn't matter unless they make something happen off nothing.
And they haven't really been defending that well either. Either of them, have they?
No. Ospreys, Bulls as well. That's gonna be tough.
Yeah, Bulls.
It's really hard to see, isn't it? These teams that come over. What type of team?
Yeah, what squad of players are going to bring?
Yeah. I'm going to go Ospreys.
Yeah, I'm going to switch. I'm going to go Ospreys. Ulster versus Connacht, lads, to finish off. Who have we got?
Connacht.
I'll have to go Ulster. They've been pretty mediocre over the last few weeks. I do.
Retainer.
I'm not sure.
Again,
Shanks.
Retainer.
We chatted about it. I'm not sure what squad Connacht are going to play because they've played full strength the last couple of weeks. I think Bundyaki will play because he didn't play against the Sharks. They might go strong enough, Man, Ulster have got a few injuries.
They'll smell blood, Stevie. They'll smell blood.
Yeah, they will.
I think they'll go full hit.
And they've won there in recent times too. So
this is brilliant. We've got some real exciting games coming up.
Yeah, we do. Boys, as always, thank you so much for your time. John, take it easy. And Shanks, keep working on your golf swing. Hopefully you'll win something next year.
I've got lowest handicap here, so I'm not taking any advice off you because I've got lowest handicap. So
I'm just saying, get better.
You're playing a council course, mate. It doesn't count.
I'm sorry, I wasn't born into money.
I wasn't pitching putt, mate. It doesn't count. Anyway, on that
cheers,
note,
boys.
Cheers,
on
lads.
that note, thanks everyone. Every minute of every game live, Premier Sports. Catch us three lads. We'll be working the games at the weekend, as will Simon Zebo, Ryan Wilson, and a couple of others added in. So make sure and tune in. Until next week, take it easy.
To the belly.